Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Chad, and I am a Customer Success Specialist for Actionstep. For today's webinar, we will take a look at list views and how you can apply it into your everyday operations. List views can provide an overview of different operational activities of your business. These areas stretch from reviewing activities, tasks, accounting, and metadata. Just before we begin, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to type them into the chat bar or email support@actionstep.com once the webinar concludes. So, what are list views? A list view is a specialized format in which Actionstep displays and stores information within an organized and readable formation. It provides many data points to be filtered and sorted to display specific information you need and would like to report on. List views are one of the most unused features that can give you the greatest immediate benefit with the least amount of effort. It can give you insight into your business and can be used to review meta files, how long they've been active for, and key dates, just to name a few. They can be thought of as custom reports or a drill down style search. For whatever your needs, they are a great way to see the data in your system in an easily readable, filterable, exportable, and generally useful format. What kind of data can be reported? List views can report on data from matters, including custom data, accounting and trust accounting, tasks, appointments, participant, and contact data. There are 6 different types of list views in which each will have its own set of data sources. Let's look at some common uses of list views. The first is the meta list view. This view can draw nearly all information in regards to billing, participant, and custom data. One of the most common uses for this list view is to show the outstanding WIP fees, also known as work in progress, the WIP disbursements, the amount billed, and the trust account balance. The idea is that it gives you an overview of the value that is waiting to be billed for each matter. Another example is through the use of custom data. You can use list views to show all the matters that have important dates that need to be tracked, such as settlement dates and purchase dates in conveyancing matters. You can also track dates through custom data for will renewals, for estate planning, court dates for barristers, or copyright renewals for IP. There are a multitude of scenarios where knowing what is coming up in the next week or month helps you organize your day. Next is the time entry list view. The time entry list view provides information on data based around accounting and can also incorporate tasks related to time entries. The most common view in this method is the unbilled WIP view. You can track things such as billable hours in contrast to the actual hours that were recorded against a time entry, as well as the value of time in a monetary figure. You can set a filter on it so that you can track the unbilled WIP only, filter unbilled WIP by staff member, and also track the unbilled WIP by month. Next is the task list view. The task list view, for the task list view, you can look into creating a list that will provide information such as the due date of the task, who it is assigned to, the matter it is associated with, and also the tag that the task is associated with. You can also set a filter to view tasks by specific users. This helps you keep track of the tasks that are coming up or are due for particular users. Task by tag is also a great way to filter through important tags. Compliance is one, for example. Any task that is auto-generated and needs to be completed for compliance reasons would most likely be of high priority and would need to be completed on time. And so filtering through the list view by a particular tag will keep you up to date with the due date before it is due. The disbursement list view. This list view enables you to track costs on expenses and can provide insights specifically on each disbursement created in Actionstep. It can provide information on the invoice it was added to, the date it was created, and what matter it is associated with, and also the type of disbursement it is. It can be used to specifically track costs from a certain source. For example, a conveyancing property search. You can filter this list down further by adding a custom date range and tracking how many have been done within a month or how many have been done within a particular time period. It is also great for comparing monthly invoices to what has been billed to ensure that all costs have been passed on correctly. For example, if a firm carries out 100 couriers a month, you'll be able to filter specifically by matter, making sure that each courier expense has been billed to the right matter when the monthly bill arrives. The contact list view. This list view is a great option when wanting to target contacts that would be suitable for a particular action. You can add other columns such as the name, the number, contact details, relations, and any custom data associated specifically with contacts. In the screenshot below, I've added a column to specify whether a client has given approval for a firm to send them marketing email updates. You can filter this list as well, which will give you an indication of all contacts that want to receive these updates. The appointment list view. The appointment list view can help you stay organized and on top of upcoming meetings and booked appointments within Actionstep. This list view allows you to add columns such as the start and end date, the location of the appointment, the matter it is assigned to, if any, and the status of the appointment. You can set a filter on the list view to allow you to review important upcoming dates for the next week so that you are up to date with your meetings well in advance. This is also a great view when needing to prepare for a court hearing a week or two in advance. Now that we have discussed the list views, let's look into the heads up feature. Heads up is a great tool that allows you to take important information contained within Actionstep list views and get it emailed to you on a regular basis. The frequency of the emails can be set up on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and will also allow you to select a specific day and time in which the email is sent. The heads up feature will also automatically update itself when new information is added into the system. For example, let's say that you have created a matter list view. If another matter is created after a scheduled heads up rule has been emailed, the next scheduled email will contain the new matter within the report automatically. Now that we have discussed the benefits of list views, let's take a look into how you can create one. To do so, I'm going to switch over to an internal database that we use for testing and training purposes. First, we want to navigate to admin. And then what we want to do is scroll down to custom list views. Now for this example, we are going to look at a matter list view. And then what we're going to do is click on create new list. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to target whip across matters. And you can give it a description. In this case, I will say all work in progress. The sort order is basically the formation or the position in which this particular list view is positioned among the other list views within the list. One being closer to the top and anything else being below, further down to the bottom of the list. In this case, I am going to click and select number 1. The menu group allows you to group like matter list views or like list views. If I hover over matters, as you can see, these here are actually menu groups, and I actually have a whip menu group already. In this case, what I'm going to do is just type in whip, and once this is saved, it will be placed within this menu group here. System role permissions are based around who will be able to see this particular view. In this case, I'm just going to say that all administrators will be able to do so. And the system roles default list will specifically make this list view the default view whenever viewing the meta list. So if I was to hover over matters and click meta list, after this view is created, I will automatically, this custom list view will automatically pop up instead of the original default meta list view. In this case, I'm going to leave it as empty. Now, as we go into the filter section, it is important to note that anything you select in this view or in this configuration for the view will lock that specific action. So if I was to select active for meta status, this view will only display active matters in the list. Keeping everything open or unselected will assume that it will grab data from all, I guess, elements of the system. This being that if I deselect active, it will show me all the matters across the board that are closed, marked as templates, inactive, and also active. And this is the same when it comes to action type, current step, assigned division, and also if you have multiple currencies in your system through currencies. The favorites dropdown, if you click on that, show filter by favorites and exclude by favorites. This just means that if you have a matter marked as a favorite and you select filter by favorites, it will only show those matters within this list view, and vice versa for the exclude favorites. What I'm going to do is just keep that all empty and click save. Now, this pop-up menu will appear, and in this case, what I'm going to do is just remove a few items that I do not want. All right, and I will just delete those. Now, to add a column, all you need to do is click this Add Column button to the top right, and another menu will appear. Now, what I'm going to do is look at the meta fees, and so I will name this WIP fees. In the data source, I'm going to select tasks and time entries. And in the task and time entry data, I'm going to select billable amount, excluding billed. Once I do that and click save, it will save to the list. The default position, again, similar to what I had said before, is just the position of this particular column now within the meta list view. But instead of a list being furthest to the top or the bottom, it takes it into account being furthest to the left or further to the right, one being further to the left. In this case, I'm just going to keep it as it is. The next one that I'm going to add is fees in time. And it is right there. I'm going to select in the data source dropdown, select task and time entry. And then in the task and time entry data, I'm going to select total unbilled hours. So click save. And again, keeping the position as it is. So as you can see, not adding any number in the position, all the columns are just lined up underneath each other. The next I'm going to do is the total billable amount. And in here, I'm going to select task and time entry. And for this, I'm going to select total billable amount, including build. So as you can see, now these are the 3 columns that we have added. The next that I'm going to add is the disbursements or WIP disbursements. I'm going to click the drop down again, click task and time entry, and then click this right there. And lastly, I'm going to add a trust balance column. Now for this, there are a multitude of selections that you can use. Firstly, you would need to go down to the trust balances data source, and it will give you a multitude of sources that you can use. The difference between total trust funds and total trust funds available is that you may not be able to use certain funds that have been received into the system. And so if those funds are still on a lock period, the amount will not appear within this list, and it will actually show as 0 because it is not available. So in this case, I'm going to just select total trust funds just to show you the figures and click save. So now that I've done that, I'm going to click preview. And the first thing I'm going to do is hover over filter, click show available filters. And I'm actually going to select the date created and select today. This is just for the testing purposes. Now, these are matters that I have created today. As you can see, we have the WIP and fees, the conversion of the time, the total billable amount, and that will include what has been billed already, the disbursements, and also the trust balance right there. So this was just a small example of how it can be used within your system. Now, let's have a look at frequently asked questions. Can I edit the configuration of a list view after it has been created? Yes, you can do so by clicking the tick box on the left-hand side of the view and then click Edit List Properties. Are list views available on all 3 product platforms? Unfortunately, no. List views are only available as a feature on a Practice Pro or Pro Plus accounting system. Although you aren't able to create your own list view in Express, some workflow that are installed from Actionstep, from the Actionstep website, are packaged with their own built-in list views. Can I use a list view that I created a base template to create another list view? You can, yeah, and the answer is yes. You can set further filters on views, which can give you specific information. An example of this would be the outstanding WIP list view that we just looked at. You can set a filter so that you can track the unbilled WIP of a particular staff member as well. Another example could be in relation to a matter list view. Let's say you were looking for all matters that are currently sitting on a particular step and waiting for approval of trust funds to be used. This will allow you to follow up and check whether confirmation has been granted. Is there a limit to the number of columns that can be added? Technically, the answer is no. You can add as many columns as you'd like, but there are 2 things that you need to account for when adding a multitude of columns. One minor thing is that adding a large list of columns would cause the need to scroll from left to right to view all the columns. The other is that adding columns will attract more data against each data source. And if you have a large list of matters, tasks, and invoices, for example, it could cause performance issues. It is recommended that if you do have a large list of columns, that you potentially group like columns and create another list view specifically for that set. Now, this webinar is only intended to serve as an introduction to the list view feature. For a more in-depth explanation on how it works, please review some of these great articles that we have crafted for our user guide, or you can ask us to put you in touch with a consulting partner that can really help you get the most out of this feature. If you want to know more about the use of workflow or how to use Actionstep for marketing, stay tuned as we will be bringing you the webinars for these topics in the not so distant future. Thank you all for watching, and please remember to send any questions you have over to support@actionstep.com. Bye for now.